We are so glad that May has arrived after what has been an unbelievable wet winter and a cool start to spring. Since my last film, which ended in the last day of April, the garden is ramping on in the first week of May and is changing every day. With the warmer, more settled spell, we are giving the shed a well-deserved new protection coat after months of constant soaking, but it's never leaked. The old dividing fence is also getting a spruce up, but it's well past its best. The white rock trailing flower in our small front scree garden has flowered for around 40 years. It seems to thrive on neglect, as do the other alpines, with just a bit of selective weeding. Unfortunately, the pond is still leaking and it's about 5 inches down. I think I have a theory where the pond's leaking. Several years ago these were 2 separate ponds and they joined them up by a big patch. The patch is still under the water level, so I think that it could be leaking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all the stones back, examine it, and if necessary, revert it back to 2 separate ponds. After another couple of days, a new theory. Due to a series of tests and a process of elimination over the last few days, I think we might be losing water along the stream bed, because I think it overflows the side of the liner on the stream and it gets behind the liner and the liner bubbles up from underneath. So the back of the liner seems to be full of water, but it's going down now. I've turned the pump off. I've raised the sides of the streamliner a couple of inches, backing it higher with builder's sand. The rocks and stones have to be rearranged to try and create a natural looking streamside banking. Right, that looks better there, doesn't it? And I'll fill up there.
As long as it's safe.
The water from the 2 ponds has joined up again, which has attracted the tadpoles out of the pond lid. The pebbles are repositioned again at the narrowest section. And then the plants can be replaced to camouflage the liner and the grass strip repositioned to protect the tadpoles from the submerged pump. And now deserve short rest, just enjoying the comings and goings of our garden birds. It's now the 12th of May and the later spring flowers are opening. Quite a few bee and butterfly attracting plants have succumbed to the wet winter, so I'm slowly replacing them as they become available. And then on Sunday evening, on the 12th, an humdinger of a thunderstorm, which dropped 33mm or 1.25 inches of rain in around 30 minutes. The following morning all the rain had soaked in overnight, and the garden looked fresher and seemed more lush, with everything putting on a spurt of growth overnight. From now to the beginning of June, our garden seems to be at its most productive, with new flowers opening every day. We just love the water ravens, along with the lily of the valley. Ramsons, red campion and our first cranberry are all opening, and we've just spotted our first damselfly. It's now the 22nd of May, and the Great Tits have young chicks. On this short warmer spell, the garden is changing every day, and on our small area of lawn, the yellow rattle is shooting up, as are the wild orchids. But this quieter spell was broken again by 36 hours of rain and strong winds. Over that period my rain gauge overflowed, with over 60mm of rain falling, nearly 2.5 inches. With this cold, wet, unsettled spell, only 9 degrees one day, I was up at 5:30 AM watching and assessing how the Great Tits were faring, finding suitable natural food, but they did supplement this shortage with food from the bird feeders. I calculated that they would fledge in the last couple of days at the end of the month. I think the birds were eating greenfly. and we've also got a young wood pigeon. On the 26th, a warmer day. Yet another morning up at 5:30 a.m, checking on the Great Tits. I've become a little obsessed with our Great Tits because I wanted them to survive and hopefully film them fledging, but they might fail because of the lack of food. Then more rain and colder again on the 27th. This is not helping the situation. It's brightened up again this afternoon and our first yellow rattle flowers were opening on the small lawn. This year the cold, wet, unsettled spring has disrupted the natural flow of the seasons, and I haven't generated the usual enthusiasm for filming, and many opportunities have been missed. Then on the late morning of the 29th of May, some great tick action. The young have fledged.
I saw one fly out and it's on the ground here.
We didn't know how many, but there were at least 2.
Oh look, there's another one here. I think there's some more in the plants down here. One at parents is there.
Let's hope they survive, but we'll never know for sure. But spring moves forward, and as we enter June, we hope the sun will return, and once again summer will reward us with all the many pleasures of our wildlife garden.